At the Christmas family meal, my mother distributed presents to everybody. I received none. She remarked, "You should feel thankful that you're allowed to be present here." My uncle chimed in, "Consider yourself lucky that we haven't forgotten who you are." The whole group chuckled. I responded, "That's helpful information." A fortnight later, they appeared at my doorstep, shouting urgently, "We have to discuss this. Let us in right now." Hello, Reddit. The holiday gathering at my mom's place had long been fraught with tension. It wasn't the explosive kind that stories often describe as dysfunctional. No raised voices in anger, no objects hurled across the room, no blatant harshness that strangers could quickly identify and condemn as unacceptable. It was far more understated, hushed, concealed within customs, light-hearted remarks, and the unspoken rule that we all ought to simply appreciate being part of it. I continued attending annually, not out of desire, but because skipping it sparked inquiries, and in our household, those inquiries invariably sounded like blame. Therefore, I appeared reliably without fuss. That particular year, I reached there about 10 minutes ahead of schedule. I recall glancing at the dashboard clock in my vehicle and wondering if I should delay entering. Arriving early implied offering assistance. Showing up precisely on time allowed me to fade into the background. Being tardy invited remarks. I opted for early, as I invariably did. The residence appeared unchanged from previous times. The identical wreath hung on the entrance, slightly askew. The same strand of holiday lights flickered inconsistently. One light bulb perpetually burned out, yet never fixed. The familiar subtle aroma of food preparation blended with another scent, something aged, something sentimental, something lingering and unsettled. I pressed the doorbell despite knowing they were inside. I preferred not to enter without notice. My mother answered and gave me a quick glance. "You're ahead of time," she noted. No greeting, no season's wishes, merely a statement. I offered I can lend a hand. She moved aside silently. Within, the others had already gathered. My cousins occupied the sitting area, their voices booming, chuckles echoing around. My uncle propped himself by the kitchen counter, drink in grip, cheeks flushed and energetic. My aunt perched on the sofa, browsing her device, hardly looking upward. Conversations didn't pause upon my arrival. No heads turned my way. I removed my outerwear without noise and lingered a bit longer than needed, hoping for some recognition from anybody. None came. "Take that seat," my mother directed, gesturing to the far side of the dining setup while avoiding eye contact. "Don't get too settled, it's just your spot." The chair rocked unsteadily as I lowered myself. I observed it but remained silent. Long ago, I discovered that voicing minor issues marked you as troublesome, and troublemakers weren't readily pardoned in our circle. The meal commenced with energy, dishes clattered, beverages were poured, talks intertwined. My mother vanished briefly to the cooking area and re-emerged with an armful of packaged items. Vibrant wrapping, precisely knotted bows, labels with names inscribed neatly. A brief spark of an unnamed emotion stirred in me. Anticipation. She distributed them individually. One cousin got a parcel and exclaimed joyfully. My aunt applauded. My uncle cracked a quip. Wrappings ripped open. Grins appeared. Chuckles ensued. I observed in silence, palms resting together on my thighs. Initially, I figured mine would arrive afterward. That seemed logical, didn't it? I was accustomed to waiting till the end, but the collection dwindled. The remaining items decreased. The last one was given, leaving emptiness. I held out longer than wise, sufficiently for the quiet near me to weigh down noticeably. Yet nobody registered it. A cousin bent closer and murmured, "Have you unwrapped yours already?" I indicated no. Before further words from me, my mother raised her gaze. "Ah," she stated evenly, "there isn't one for you." The space hushed somewhat, not fully halting but perceptibly. I managed a grin. "It's fine," I uttered promptly. She interrupted before I continued. "Feel thankful you're permitted to be seated here," she declared firmly. The statement struck deeply, not for its novelty, but for its public delivery. My uncle guffawed, not hesitantly, not remorsefully, but robustly. "Indeed," he contributed, raising his beverage. "Appreciate that your identity still registers with us." All present joined in laughter. Without exception, heat rose to my cheeks. My fists tightened beneath the table, yet I held back tears. I avoided debate. I refrained from justification. I grinned and replied, "That's helpful information." Dialogue picked up immediately, as if the incident evaporated, as if my exclusion hadn't just occurred openly. I gazed at my dish. The meal lacked flavor. I masticated as protocol demanded during gatherings. I ingested to evade further notice, which would exacerbate matters. As they chatted, my thoughts wandered to past celebrations, birthdays where my dessert emerged post-departures, festivities omitted from collective messages, the repeated admonition to value scant notice received. I recalled youthfully persisting, presenting considerate tokens, noting occasions, exerting myself. I remembered the gradual cessation, not deliberate at first, but incremental upon realizing input altered nothing in my position. Post-meal, folks shifted to the lounge. Greater volume, greater mirth. I remained subdued, perched on a sofa's periphery, unseen once more. I noted how discussions circled without involving me, how inquiries bypassed me seamlessly, how at ease all were with my quietude. In time I rose. I ought to head out, I announced. No objections arose, no queries on reasons. My mother looked briefly. Travel carefully, she advised. I acknowledged. Outdoors, the chill struck my skin abruptly. I inhaled profoundly. It seemed purer, more genuine. The journey back was serene. Road illuminations glided by steadily. My reflections weren't chaotic. They were aligning. That evening, no tears fell. No outbursts shared. No online venting. I merely ceased initiating contact. 14 days elapsed. Quietude extended. And what they failed to grasp amid their amusement that evening and resuming normalcy was that this quiet wasn't absolution. It was separation, constructed gradually. The quiet endured precisely 2 weeks. No messages, no accidental dials, not even subtly barbed shares. At the start, it felt odd, then uneasy, then remarkably calm. I made no declarations. I didn't restrict access. I just halted pursuit. Evidently, that sufficed for my complete vanishing from their world, revealing volumes. Over those 14 days, I mentally reviewed the holiday meal repeatedly, more than I'd prefer. Not compulsively, not with heavy emotion, but detachedly, at last permitting clear vision sans justifications. My mother's prompt delivery of gratitude for mere presence. My uncle's timely jest succeeding because it echoed shared views. The effortless amusement, genuine comfort enables such responses that insight pained beyond the utterances. I returned to employment. I handled tasks. I proceeded with existence. An unforeseen shift occurred. Absent the ongoing relational strain from relatives, I sensed buoyancy. No overanalyzing messages, no mentally preparing dialogues, no stealing for events, simply tranquility. On the 15th day, pounding echoed at my entrance, not courteous, not relaxed, urgent, irregular rapping, the sort conveying distress prior to visual confirmation. I didn't hasten, I didn't hurry, I peered through the viewer. My mother waited, jacket improperly fastened, strands loose. My uncle flanked her, complexion ruddy and clearly disturbed. My aunt lingered rearward, limbs folded, evidently annoyed by the situation. I delayed opening initially. I inhaled steadily. "Please," my mother voiced via the barrier, "we must converse." "Unlock it." There arrived the phrase reserved for impacts on them. I eased the door open gradually. "What seems to be the issue?" I inquired composedly. My uncle advanced swiftly. "Quit pretending ignorance," he barked. "What have you done?" I arched a brow. "I'm unclear on your meaning." My mother seized my limb. "End this," she urged. "It's lasted sufficiently." I withdrew gently. "Enter," I suggested. "If shouting's intended, better indoors away from onlookers." This caught them off guard. They anticipated remorse. They anticipated resistance, not composure. Indoors, my uncle plunged in. "Why have you severed ties?" he pressed. "Why this behavior?" I secured the entrance and rested against it. "I haven't severed anything," I stated. "I've merely ceased pursuing." My aunt snorted dismissively. "Avoid exaggeration." I offered a subtle grin. "Amusing," I noted. Similar to your Christmas comment. My mother appeared uneasy now. That differed, she countered hastily. You're distorting facts. No, I answered. I'm recalling precisely. My uncle gestured broadly. You've shamed us, he claimed. Others observed your absence. Inquiries arose. There emerged the core, not remorse for harm, but external perceptions. So it's regarding image, I queried. My mother stayed mute. I proceeded to the cooking space and filled a glass with water. They trailed, eyeing me as the flaw requiring correction. I need you to grasp this, I expressed deliberately. My departure wasn't punitive. Remaining eroded my self-respect. My uncle dismissed again. You're exaggerating. It was humorous intent. I faced him. Your amusement, I pointed out. That classifies it not as humor but endorsement, quietude. Substantial now. My mother lowered herself, abruptly weary. You've long been overly reactive, she murmured softly. I concurred. True, I affirmed. And you've consistently leveraged that to justify unkindness. Her gaze lifted sharply. Unjust. No, I maintained evenly. Unjust is demanding thanks for minimal effort while labeling it affection. My aunt tightened her stance. Then your demand, she probed. Regret, I considered. No, I admitted truthfully. I seek responsibility and limits. Glances exchanged. Limits unsettled them. You might have voiced it, my mother breathed. I have, I countered. Across years, ignored absent repercussions. My uncle rose suddenly. Absurd, he declared. Relatives don't act thus. I held his stare. Nor do relatives demean one another. That instant marked a turn, not spectacularly, but firmly. They recognized my seriousness. No hysteria, no seeking approval for healing. My mother's tone gentled. Next steps, I inhaled. Henceforth, I explained, accord me the regard you demand or forfeit involvement. No demands, no threats, merely reality. They departed soon. No embraces, no closure. Yet alteration occurred. In ensuing weeks, interactions evolved. Jabs at me ceased. Dismissals of my sentiments as burdens halted. Inquiries replaced presumptions, not from sudden insight, but recognition of my readiness to withdraw. And I experienced a long-absent sensation. Completeness. My key takeaway, those gaining from your quietude will deem your limits harsh. They'll label you challenging, accuse you of alteration, claim you're fracturing unity, but you're simply declining the role of just target. Inclusion sans esteem isn't connection. Tolerance isn't care. Quietude isn't harmony, it's self-neglect. Choosing oneself prompts true supporters to adapt. Others never truly belonged. I now join celebrations occasionally, per my conditions. When declining, no justifications, no regrets, no remorse. Having grasped a delayed truth, my requests weren't excessive, directed at unsuitable recipients. That's the conclusion for this tale. Look forward to additional shares. Appreciate your attention.